Okay, here we are, live with the first presentation here of Mankey's Man United Goss. And we're doing so on the back of the sacking, the major news today, the sacking of Ruben Amorim. I couldn't let the day go by without discussing this. It's been rumoured, I suppose, over the recent week that this might happen, and especially after Ruben's comments following the Leeds game, in which he said, "I am the manager, not the coach." And this obviously touched a few raw nerves in the boardroom at Man United, and especially people like Jason Wilcox and the Ineos people. Obviously, there was some disagreement as to the roles being played, which is amazing, given you would think when you sit down and create a contract worth millions of dollars, and this is costing United 30 million, just quietly, when it's costing millions of dollars, don't you think you would have your job description written down to the nth degree? So it beats the hell out of me how there can be disputes on that. Mind you, it's difficult to find the job description of people in management at football clubs, whether it's the CEO or whether it's the sporting director or director of football or whatever titles these guys are getting. What exactly is their responsibility? I knew I had that on the wrong way. And these things happen. I'm not sure if you would have heard any of that. But anyway, we'll continue because this is the first test run. We're going to have issues like this. In fact, it's like wearing a cap back to front, just like that. Anyway, there's been Amorim outers for a while now, and they can be happy that he's finally riding into the sunset. The newspapers this morning are showing Amorim having a nice stroll with his wife in the British wintry snow in Cheshire, looking quite happy. And then there was also these media stories that Amorim's crew were just laughing their heads off, apparently reported by the employees. I didn't know there was enough employees there to observe these sort of things these days, since they sacked most of them. Dreadful Ineos move. So, making out that he's laughing his head off, that he's walking away with, a package of 30 million or whatever it may be. So, the question is, was Amorim thrown under the bus, or did he deserve it? Well, you got to look at the transfers that he's had, and he's had quite a few new transfers. And we can't say that United have been quiet in the transfer market. They've, in last summer, have bought in the goalkeeper, Lemen, which we're all very happy with. They bought in Sesko, which nobody disagreed with at the time. Yeah, he's struggling at the moment, but he's got great prospects. And I think it's more of a matter of our failure to create a team that can support him rather than Sesko having an issue himself. It was the same with Rasmus, really. And we could have kept him. It would have been the same situation. I think we should have kept him anyway, because we need more than one centre forward, especially since Chido Obi is not being selected. I mean, what about the good old days under Ferguson? We had 4 forwards. Good God. Having 4 forwards today, people would be up in arms, up in arms. Um, so we've got um, um, Patrick Dorgu that came in, and he's, in my view, learning to um, play the game of football, but he's got so much potential. He's got so much enthusiasm, and I'm a fan of Dorgu. Um, if he's not playing that well, then it's because the manager and the coach haven't organised the team for him to prosper him. There's no reason why Patrick Dorgu can't be successful. I mean, it has been, we have tried in the transfer market to support um, Amorim. Whether you could say, well, it's not in the 3-4-3 system. But look, players like Frimpong, for instance, we wanted him, but he wanted Liverpool. So what could we do about it? And if we look at this summer, we want Semenyo from Bournemouth, and we're not going to get him, even though he would be perfect for a 3-4-3. I think there's only one signing that I think United should have made, and I think it's a signing over and above rather than an eye. I think we should have got Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins, experienced centre forward, and he's having a good season this season. I know he's had a pretty quiet season over recent years, year or two. But he's a quality forward, and I think we should have got him. And this year, he's doing very well for Villa. But he's playing in a Villa team that's playing very, very well, and that's one of the reasons he's prospering. If he was playing in a Man United team, I'm sure he would struggle to score. But I would like to have seen both Sesko and Watkins purchased. 2 forwards, not 4, but 2. That would have been good, wouldn't it? So you look at Lenny Yoro that was brought in. He was picked out of nowhere. In France, nobody had been talking about him, although Real Madrid had him on their cards. And it was a good signing from United to get him in. Again, as with Patrick Dorgu, he hasn't been helped with Amorim criticising him at times. I suppose that's one of my criticisms of Amorim, was that he went public criticising some of his players, and especially the younger players. It's one thing criticising the older players publicly, but to criticise people like Yoro and Dorgu publicly wasn't really the best thing to do. He's brought in not a transfer, but we've had Aidan Heaven coming into the side this year. Again, I think that showed that, we're happy to bring youth in. I don't think there's a major issue there, though some people would have you believe that we don't introduce youth. I mean, Ahmed, is essentially a youth player, and now he's a regular. So I'm talking about Frimpong and Semenyo, who didn't want to come to United. The 2 players that did, Kuna and Mbeumo, definitely wanted to come to United, and we ended up getting them. And they were 2 of the absolute best creative midfield players last season. So again, some people might be criticising that now, but they weren't criticising it in the summer when we were buying them. And I personally don't think it was a problem buying them. 2 good creative players. The key is how they are linking up with the forward, Sesko. How they're linking up with the wing backs in order to support Sesko. They're the key things. So then we look at the midfield, and we've got Casemiro and Ugarte, obviously some people have been critical of both these players, but I think, again, it's not the end of the world that we've got these players. Casemiro, full of experience. I think he's had a reasonable season. Ugarte, another player suffering from criticism from Amorim. and and could have done, and he's now gaining some confidence. I mean, again, when we bought Ugarte, I didn't see many people saying that that was a bad signing. I think we were all excited to get a defensive midfield player that had been part of PSG. So, yeah, I mean, one of the problems, as we all know, has been having Bruno Fernandes in that midfield area. And that has been an issue, and one driven by the fact that we don't have quality defensive midfield players. But again, look at who was available in the summer. Who could we have bought? I'm looking at a list now that I've just made earlier myself, and actually there was heaps of strikers available last summer. Heaps of strikers. But when it comes to midfield players, I mean, we could talk about Wirtz, who went to Liverpool, but we're not going to pay £100 million for that player, and he wanted to go to Liverpool anyway, and we weren't going to compete with that sort. Zubimendi went to Arsenal. He was one that maybe we could have got a hold of, but I believe he would have gone to Arsenal rather than United. I'm looking at the players, and there's very few defensive midfield players around that were in fact transferred over the summer. Ramsey, he was a midfield player from Aston Villa that went to Newcastle. Simons went to Spurs, but I mean, I don't think these are deal breakers myself. We've got. I'll tell you one thing I'm glad we didn't get was Delap. I mean, as I said, Watkins I thought was good, but Delap, what was he going to do? Not a great fan of Delap myself. So new manager. Who's it going to be? The new manager. And again, there's very few managers that are going to fit the bill. There's a lot of talk about the Crystal Palace manager coming in, but Oliver Glasner. But Oliver Glasner, he plays 3-4-3 at Crystal Palace. Do we really want to? Bring in a manager, no matter even if he has been successful, who's played a 3-4-3? I mean, I thought that's what everyone wasn't happy about. So personally, even though I think he would be a good manager, I think he would start off needing to get some pretty immediate success if he was to be playing a 3-4-3. Maresca, did he get Bolshevik at Chelsea, knowing that the United job was coming up, and he's been mentioned? But there again, he was a bit like Amorim in terms of not wanting to just be a coach, but wanting to be a manager. And I don't think he's going to get that at United. I would love to see that happening. I would love to see Jason Wilcox and the rest have their job titles clearly for everybody to see, and for the manager to be really a manager. I mean, we've even got a head of recruitment, Christopher Virrell. What's his role as such? So we're looking at the. I'm just looking at some of my notes here in terms of who's available. Kieran McKenna from Ipswich, not good enough. Pochettino, nah. Unai Emery from Aston Villa for sure, but is he really going to come to United? I don't think so. Eddie Howe, possibly. Gareth Southgate, no way, we don't want him. Xavi Hernandez, we're going to get the tick-attack football again. I don't think we would want him. And then Darren Fletcher at the moment taking charge. I really don't want Fletcher being the coach or manager. I think we've got to have a break from that whole generation of players. And we've got two Fletchers who are playing for United at the moment, and I wish them all the best in the future development, but they're not ready for the United team now. And I don't know whether Fletcher's going to be playing them or going out of his way not to play them in the matches to come. But they're not up to it, in my view. So we have issues there in terms of getting a replacement. I hope United have been thinking about this and planning some sort of replacement before they took this action of sacking Amorim. I mean, sacking a manager in the middle of a season rather than at the end of the season, it just doesn't make sense. Amorim didn't want to come in the middle of the season as he did. And here we are now going to, have another manager who's going to have to try and pick things up on the run. Again, it just does not make sense. There's no doubt in my mind that the key problems that we have didn't lie just with Amorim, but lie above Amorim, ultimately with the Glazer ownership, Ineos, Jason Wilcox and Barada being useless. And until we have changes there, unfortunately, we're going to be lucky to find a manager. And we've had some managers since Fergie's left, strong managers with strong personalities, but working in a system that's just not happening. But I mean, I think the system's changed under Ineos. But has it been for the better? I don't think so. First little stream here that I've done, I'll keep it pretty short. Fixtures, they've been strange, the fixtures this year, haven't they? I mean, Boxing Day didn't happen except for United, I think it was. I didn't like that. And the way the fixtures have been staggered, not a fan of it, but we have got fixtures later on this week. We're playing Burnley away. Oh, gosh. We must beat Burnley, surely to goodness. After that, it won't be long before we're playing Man City, and we've got FA Cup and things like that. And I think so we've got some, in the not too distant future, some more difficult fixtures. So that's why it's not been a great thing. We haven't picked up the kind of points that we needed to in playing the lower teams. Mind you, I think we always raise our games. Some of our best games, against Arsenal, against Liverpool this season. So there you go. Okay, I'll leave it there for now. Smash a like if you can, and I'm happy to hear any comments. Bye.